Good day and welcome back to another DB Legends video. In this video we are going to be taking a look at the Hyperdimensional co-op that has recently changed, so we are facing Final Form Frieza in this Hyperdimensional co-op, and it's suiting the category or the current summonable unit by having it obviously be focused on Hybrid Saiyan. So nothing too crazy here, obviously a very standard Hyperdimensional co-op, no special edition, no special rewards, no anything crazy like that, and Hybrid Saiyans across the board are going to be most effective. Obviously, as you guys always know, for the most part we take on the advanced difficulty with a purely free-to-play unit and team, or as free-to-play as possible, so that obviously you guys can get a good idea of just what unit you can use or what options you have. And yes, as always, the rewards for Hyperdimensional Co-op are pretty decent, and we'll take a look at them afterwards. Obviously, you need to run the extreme difficulty if you want to get the special coins for the equipment and the awakening equipment. Now, of course, beyond all of that, we will be building our team. Luckily, there is a green Hybrid Saiyans Gohan. Pretty useful unit to have. You can actually get them under the special events tab when you take on Broly in the Legends Limited Goten event. I will actually be linking that in the top right hand corner for you guys, so that you can obviously take a look and see how everything goes. But yes, it is pretty straightforward, so hopefully you guys have a pretty decent time there and can get this Gohan, and he can help you out if you are needing. Otherwise, you can use the Fierce Fight Trunks. Realistically speaking, he's also an incredibly solid unit to utilize. So yeah, generally speaking, there's not too much that you need to actually worry about. You shouldn't really be too concerned in terms of these hyperdimensional co-ops. Hybrid Saiyans is a very widely dispersed category with a ton of units. And yes, like I said, this isn't a special edition hyperdimensional co-op or anything. It's been a while since we've had a standard hyperdimensional co-op. So yes, no specific rewards or anything here, just your stock standard hyperdimensional co-op rewards. Obviously, as you guys well know, Hyperdimensional Co-op is a co-op event, as it says in the name. But you are required to play with another player, or you can play with a friend via friend code. Obviously, there are always missions in relation to Hyperdimensional Co-op, and they are usually for titles, but also for a pretty relatively decent amount of Chrono Crystals. So yes, it's just going to depend on how you kind of want to roll with things. But yeah, for me, personally, I thought this one was alright. I thought this was a decent Hyperdimensional co-op. I didn't find it to be hard at all. Fairly relatively simple Hyperdimensional co-op. So just to run through some of the tips for you guys, as always. So what you're going to want to do is you are going to want to, of course, get your Rising Rush at the same time. That is usually the big main tactic behind Hyperdimensional Co-op. So the bosses will start with a blue bar that you will have to break. Once you break the bar, they will be susceptible to high levels of damage. Save your ultimate attacks for this phase and save your Rising Rushes for this phase as well. Now with the Rising Rush, basically you want to get it at the exact same time as your friend. But obviously sometimes that's a little bit difficult. So if you can, wait until your friend has the Rising Rush open. If they don't have Rising Rush open, then just kind of leave it, I guess, and wait until they get it. Ideally you want to run it at the same time. If your friend does not run it at the same time as you, then leave it. If you are nearing the boss's second phase, rather run your Rising Rush. And you should be able to build up another one relatively soon. Other tips include, obviously, helping your ally evade. So when your ally kind of takes on the boss, or is about to take an attack from a boss, an exclamation mark will appear above their head. If you do manage to click on their portrait before the attack comes through, there's a very high chance that you will be able to cause them to not take the attack, and instead you will actually be able to kind of hold things down, basically. And you will be able to increase your link bonus, which will increase your damage. So it's always a big perk. But yeah, that's pretty much it. We did all the incorrect things here. So my friend there used his Rising Rush just before the boss activated their Limit Burst. This is not a good idea because the Limit Burst will cancel the Rising Rush, and then you are left in no man's land trying to, obviously, well, not getting any additional damage in. So if you are going to use the Rising Rush late, at least make sure it hits. The moment you don't hit the Rising Rush, you set things back quite substantially. So if possible, try and make sure that the Rising Rush hits. That'll be your best bet for getting things done. So yeah, but other than that, everything went fine. You can see I use the Rising Rush here because I want to finish off these 3 bars. I don't want to go through this, but if you ever do have 3 Rising Rushes in one Hyperdimensional co-op match, you're probably doing something very wrong, or your friend is doing something very wrong. So guys, please, it's not too difficult to make sure that your abilities go off at like the same time. Just give it a little moment's pause, wait and see, and then you should be good to go. So try not to, if possible, like miss these abilities, but obviously, it can sometimes happen. So not gonna rag on anyone or anything. I do mistakes as well, but yeah, basically, if possible, try and avoid having these kind of issues happen when you can. But yeah, obviously the rewards, guys, Chrono Crystals, the main focus, there's about 300. But other than that, there's also some other great rewards as well. Titles, equipment expanders. There's a whole bunch of value that you can get out of Hyperdimensional Co-op. It is going to depend, of course, on how invested you are, I want to say, in terms of the event. But yeah, but that's it from me. Cheers and bye.